When I was in my teens, there was this scare called the Tylenol scare, I think, in which a tampered batch of Tylenol was used for someone to engage in a series of murders. I forget how many. Suddenly there was this big panic. People were terrified of taking Tylenol. People were terrified of prescription or non-prescription drugs in general. I don't know where this stuff has been. Why should I, pour this down my throat, this cough syrup or whatever? Also, packaged canned food, you name it, people were frightened of it. Well, it passed. People open their cans of beans and pop their Tylenol now with as much confidence or indifference as ever. In other words, it blew over. It's unfortunate that those poor people died, and we all got a scare, and that there was an actual effect on this. But we as a civilization have certainly recovered from that. This reminds me of the situation with the fellow who attempted to blow up the plane over Detroit. Airline travel is perfectly safe. If airline travel is not safe, then why do we keep getting in our cars? It's much more dangerous. Why do we keep playing with firearms? Much more dangerous. Why do we continue to indulge in recreational activity such as unprotected sex, substance abuse, adrenaline sports, blood sports, this kind of thing, which is a lot more dangerous than getting on a plane? It has grabbed the news to an extent that I don't really think is justified. No one's been hurt. The situation was taken care of. The security people have drawn what I see as the appropriate conclusions, and people can move on. This is not to say that the occasional terrorist isn't going to get through the screening processes that we put up. It's inevitable. If you see the absolute gigantic, vast nature of the airline industry, there's so many people on planes or in airports at any given time all over the world, heading through security, being screened, that there are going to be slip-ups. But they will be contained or lessened sufficient enough that we can continue to get on planes for the foreseeable future with a great deal of confidence. It's not a dangerous way to travel. I travel on planes all the time, and I know full well what the possibilities are. But I also keep in mind the fact that I engage in things that are a lot more dangerous than that. One could argue that my penchant for East Indian food could be more dangerous because, you keep eating the types of food that I like to eat, and you may end up with diabetes or heart disease or something like this. So I wonder why this sudden wave of unease has gone through the West in the wake of this fellow's bungled attempt at making his mark on history, when he has consummately failed. He did not get what he wanted. It didn't work. The passengers on board the plane seem to have sorted him out, and he now seems to be singing like a bird. And the security people are actually, if anything, farther ahead now than they were prior to this guy attempting to touch off his bomb on board a plane. In other words, it's actually been, in a strange way, a net benefit. No one got hurt, and we're going to learn a lot of information, and we've discovered another leak in our security apparatus, which we can now plug. Now, I wonder why the hysteria. It doesn't seem to make any sense to me. I understand that no one wants to die in an airplane. I understand that people want to know what's going on around them, the better to protect themselves against situations like this. But in all honesty, when have we ever been 100% safe and 100% knowledgeable? It's simply in the nature of things we can't be. I don't know what's going to happen to me on my walk to work today. I might get hit by a bus. That's the proverbial random way to die in the modern world, is getting hit by a bus, which is a risk I take every day whenever I cross the street. I've never known 100% that I'm safe. I've never been able to know everything that I need to know to make an informed decision on anything, because there's a huge amount in life that is going to be completely, or at least it will appear to me to be completely random, and despite my best efforts, I will not be able to predict these potential pratfalls, and I will fall into them. There's only so much that I can actually do. So I have to say that this recent wave of hysteria over this Nigerian fellow is utterly and completely overblown. I think that it's almost as though the modern world, in our jaded state, we want things to panic about. Even though, at the end of the day, when it comes to this incident, nothing actually happened. Airline travel is as safe as it's ever been. And we ultimately have emerged stronger from this than we were prior to this attempt being made. Now, I'm not going to say, on another note, that airline travel is fun. It ain't. It's not fun anymore. It hasn't been fun for about 10 years. It's awful. However, that's another thing that one could say. When was travel fun in general? Before the airlines came along, everyone had to ride the bus. Try riding a bus for 14 hours and tell me how much fun that is. Thank you.